We launched with the idea of let's just help this youth and women get these standards because they rarely get these standards.
Is that not a lie?
It's the truth. We never start. In fact,
you start something with impact and not money.
I swear, 100%. And let me tell you why. When we started, we didn't even think there was money in it.
Working with young people, as you've said, kuna mwenye amemba live ended yani. Unajua tuko festive season. Kuna mwenye amekwambia ni mgonjwa alafu amepost hizo story yako diani ama Lamu.
Yes, it has happened.
Really?
So I won't mention this, but yes, it's very common, especially now that we have people call them Gen Zs. Like this Gen Z market. Their working style is totally different from us. But we see to ghost. Because these stories are to ghost watu bale sipa.
Kuna mwenye asha ku ghost.
Watu me ghostiwa for like a week. Someone is not picking calls. Someone is nowhere to be seen. And then I resurface 1 week later that I was going through something. What do you mean?
I was between a rock and a hard place.
How do you expect me to understand, right?
Welcome on everybody, how are you doing? It's your girl Sue Senge, the girl with the golden voice, but you can call me the girl with the plan. A very big shout out to all of you who've been actually engaging with us. The previous episode from Vibrant Kenyan, and of course today we are also seated in the presence of greatness, still in matters, innovation, tech, SMEs and all these things. But before I continue saying all this, I'm seated with the CEO and founder of Inobid Africa. Wagwan Eliud.
Wagwan.
I at some point I thought you're a Gen Z.
Yes, I actually live like a Gen Z. I interact with Gen Z, so I think I'm one of them.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
Give us a proper intro of who you are and what is Inobid, if someone would ask.
For sure. So my name is Eliud Luther. I am the CEO and co-founder of Inobid. Inobid is a business support or entrepreneurship support organization or business. So we leverage technology to support small businesses to access trade opportunities and financing.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does this support you're talking about look like?
So support is in 3 layers, right? One is tech support. So usually when you're building a small businesses, you just have an idea, you're trying to launch it to the market. You haven't really figured out the tech side of things. Tech could be like tools that you use to share your story or maybe to communicate with clients or communicate with the team. So we support you with that tech readiness. Then there is also capacity building. So as you know, schools in Kenya or any other country do not train people to be entrepreneurs. They train you to be an employee, right? So if you choose the entrepreneurship route, chances are you won't have the skills, both technical and personal skills to be an entrepreneur. So we also build your capacity to actually be ready to run the business. Then finally, the support is business financing. So whenever you run a business, you need money to run the business, both on the working capital, but also even just building new products. So we also link you to financial institutions so that you can get that access.
Do you have like a criteria? Because business financing is also something that can land people in trouble if they don't make the right decisions. Because someone can give you money, kumbe anajua ana expect almost like 50% more, and you don't know because you're like, I'm starting and I need this money. How do you ensure that the businesses that you're giving money, first of all to you, they will give you ROI, but also to them, you're not giving them bad business?
And I think that's a brilliant question because I think previously in Kenya we've seen these mobile lenders that actually they charge like crazy interest, and we end up like leading many people to bad debt. So what we do is we actually leverage technology, specifically AI, to be able to vet you or assess your business and yourself to make sure that the financing, be it a loan or whatever that we are offering
Yeah.
you, is something that actually your business can absorb, but also then you have the chances of paying back. So we just use information. We collect enough data about your business and yourself, and then of course build it with AI algorithms that can actually predict, so that when we give you a loan, it's not a burden, but it's something that it's a tool for acceleration and building your business. But also just to clarify, is we don't give loans directly, so we just do that bit of assessing your business, get the credit score, credit worthiness of the business and yourself, then link you to a financial institution, which will then make the final decision as far as offering you the financing goes.
I want to think that what you're doing is kind of risky. Because what if you found a business and you linked them to this, the financials now, the guys who are giving the business money, and then mtu atoroke tu na hiyo pesa.
So that's not a possibility, because there is a whole journey that we go through. So business financing is the last bit of the journey. The journey starts at you applying for tenders, right? You've seen a tender opportunity, or generally we call it the procurement opportunity. You apply for it through our platform. So we have an e-procurement platform. So when you apply, most businesses may not have the money to execute that job. So for example, you've gotten a tender to supply to the the county government of Nairobi. It's a catering to cater for their events for the next 1 year. And they'll pay you after you've done the job. You see, in that case, you definitely need money to do the job, right? So at that point, that's when now we come in, we're like, oh, by the way, since you have what it takes to do the job, and there's a track record that you can do quality job, we are happy to introduce. So it's not a one-off relationship, it's not a one-off engagement, it's a whole long-term relationship that we've created with you. We have enough information about you, and so the risk is reduced.
Because I want to believe when you're spending a good amount of time with these business owners, you're already vetting what they think about money. If they're only thinking of, I want to buy a car, it's not about, I want to give returns and just grow the business and scale, then it can be, Brother Bernard akiwewe tafuta watu wengine.
And whether that's true, most people perceive business as a flashy living, or nice cars, or living in a nice neighborhood, wearing like the latest trends. That's not business. That's maybe something else that you sold in the internet. Business is about every money you have, you're thinking about, how do I invest this in my business? Of course, to increase the revenue, of course, support the team that is working, but also support the people that I'm serving. So you're constantly not thinking about yourself, but thinking about other people, be it your clients, your customers, your team. So you never actually get the chance to misappropriate the money. But again, it calls for now having that financial discipline. Yes.
I want to think InnoBid has been around for almost going to 5 years.
So so we started in 2022. That's around 3 years.
That's around 3 years.
Yes.
And you're already in Kenya and in Namibia.
Yes. So actually we launched in both markets at the same time. Yes, so we didn't it maybe start in Kenya, then moved to Namibia. So when we launched, this idea was conceptualized in South Africa. It was an event. It was actually a hackathon. So we met there, came up with the idea. Then the team that I was working at the time were both Kenyans and Namibians. So then when we left South Africa, we come to Kenya, they go to Namibia, but with a vision that we are going to implement InnoBid in both countries. So it's been happening at the same time.
So you have a partner or a co-founder who's operating in Namibia.
Yes.
My question would be, what was the market penetration strategy? Because setting foot into such an industry, I am hearing you're talking about bidding and tenders and all these things, and working with other businesses, and even to now narrow down even to the latter bit being financing and such, it's quite tricky.
It is tricky, and especially the fact that we are young, right? So it's not as easy because we don't have the big connections. We're definitely not very rich to drive this. However, we've been leveraging, I think, things that have been making a difference. One is working with development actors. So how the world operates is that there's some bodies, entities, organizations that are just focused on development work, helping. So if your business has an angle of supporting communities that are maybe underserved or maybe they have been secluded from opportunities, you get these development actors to come on board. And for us from the very beginning, we were supported by Accountability Lab, we were supported by then the US Department of State, because they knew what we were building, the e-procurement platform, was needed especially to support this segment that I'm talking about, women and youth entrepreneurs. So because of that, there were some introductions that were done then. But also, of course, ourselves also, we tried to identify who are some potential people within our ecosystem, within our surrounding, that we could reach out to, and they'll be excited about working with small businesses led by youth and women. And so we will start with those. Then of course, since now the absorption becomes faster, because you have what we call those fast adopters, then it becomes easier to spread. And then when you go to the next person, you have proof. Of course, be like, by the way, that guy is already on board, so you should be the next person to jump on this. So
before I get into market response, because also if the market has accepted you, then it doesn't make the work easier, but it makes it a bit smooth. But when you're working with, you've said youth and women, niko hapa kwa youth, because right now there's so many young people who are like, mimi naanzisha biashara leo, nanunua S-Class, 0 mileage. So are you in a position to say the young people are ambitious enough to stay put in this entrepreneurship space?
So I usually say entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
Yes.
By all means, if you can get a job, please go work for someone and do the job well. You don't have to choose the entrepreneurship route. However, the entrepreneurs I've interacted with, and actually sometimes just call them change makers, because these are people that they have identified a problem and they are so obsessed with the problem that they want to find a solution to it. And in most cases, the first idea of the solution may not even work. So it will mean you'll have to do so many iterations up to the point when you realize, oh, by the way, this thing works or this doesn't. So these kind of entrepreneurs, yes, they are young, yes, but they are really vision driven, they are passion driven, they are rooted to the problem, they are connected to the solution, and they are connected to the people that they serve. And because of that, we've never experienced, such issues where someone is just, treating entrepreneurship as a gateway to something else. Because every day you wake up, you remember that person you're serving, that be it a customer, be it a beneficiary, whatever kind of business you are, and it tells you wake up and go serve them. So that becomes a driving force.
So you've not met those ones wenye amepewa business financing juzi, alafu kesho ako na e-class.
So it's
ameenda cost kuichukua kwa pot.
Unless if it's a business investment, sometimes you can buy assets because the business needs the assets to get to the next level. And by the other thing about running a business when you're young is image matters, right? Because mtu atakuchukulia too serious if you appear in a certain way. You pull up, right? Yes, and you have to look a certain way. So some people get sort of that pressure sort of consumes them, and then they feel like, now I have to buy the latest models. So when I show up to that meeting, the client thinks I'm a serious person.
Wasinione na Alto.
Exactly, washangai. Huyu naye can even handle $1 million. I think there's that pressure, but I think find a balance. Of course, when you're running a business, you definitely, if it's a vehicle, you definitely need to have a vehicle to move around. However, make it so strategic that you're investing in a vehicle that can get you somewhere, but what should matter most is the solution that you're giving, because you can pull up in the Mercedes and then you come and your presentation is nothing. I will definitely not give you the money. But if you pull up in the Alto, like you said, and then you impress me still, I'll just be like, I think this kid needs the money to get to the next level because he's up to something. So I feel like focus more on what you have to offer than what the appearance should look like.
I'd want to ask you now the question of market acceptance, because you've spoken about I want to call it e-tendering.
Yes.
It's almost like solutions that are AI driven, their digital solutions.
Yes.
And when I'm speaking to some of these SMEs, especially the ones that are not young and moving with the times, they're rigidly or hell-bent on the things of the past. They want to do all the paperwork. If you have to sign a document, I have to come to your office. Yet I can do it on my tablet, such things. So how has it been for people to accept and respond to the solutions that you're giving?
Oof, that's a great question. So the reality is it's been tough. T for tough.
T for tough, yeah? And S for shukisha.
So the reality is, yes, we are being an e-procurement platform, what you call e-tendering platform.
Yeah.
And yes, it's AI enabled, so that we removed a lot of human interference, so that when you apply for an opportunity, when you sign up on our platform, the AI algorithms that we've built in are able to match you to an opportunity that could probably fit your business based on the profile you've populated. And this could be maybe from public sector, private sector, or non-profit sector, whichever, provided the market you're looking at.
Yes.
So this being an AI-enabled platform, it's true that AI has not been fully accepted, and even other technologies like, blockchain and the others. And I feel like, especially in Africa, the trust is so low. It's an issue of trust. People hear AI and they think fake. People hear AI and they think, no, you're sasa, it's not quality.
Yes.
But the truth is, AI can actually give the best outcome than any other human that has ever existed, because these are models that have been fed on data that has existed long enough to be like this very smart tool, right? However, the issue of trust is because people don't understand how AI works. That's why the trust is low. It's just it's human nature that when you don't understand something, you sort of push back, you're like, kama hii sielewi hapa kuna kitu,
put a wall
you
up.
put a wall up. But I usually encourage people to say, you don't actually, for example, you don't have to know how a car engine works for you to drive a car, right? When you buy your first car, you don't even know what's happening in the engine. All you know is you'll be accelerating and braking and turning around, right? And that's all you need to know. So I feel like AI can also be, at this stage, treat AI in the same manner, right? That yes, you may not understand how these algorithms are working, but you can explore them to boost your business productivity, to maybe boost your brand as a person. And I think if you don't do that now, the gap will keep getting wider. And 30 years later, or even not 30, 10 years later, the people who adopted AI now versus the people who didn't, the gap will be so wide that you won't be able to catch up. So you don't have to understand it, but explore it, because it can be used to boost your productivity, can boost your awareness, it can definitely make things easier and efficient. And so that's the narrative we're trying to sell to people. And I think so far the people that have been able to adopt really see the benefits of these technologies.
I feel like you are the right person to answer the question of, do you think AI will replace the human workforce? Because the things that you're doing, hizi mambo za matenda, watu walikuwa wanabeba bags and piles of paperwork, taking to different places, and then there's now emails and websites that came about, but now there's AI that can craft that. You don't need like a comms person to craft the thing to the T the way you want, because you can prompt this website and it can give you all what you want in like a couple of minutes.
That's true.
So do you think people are going to lose their jobs?
So actually, let me make even the problem worse, or like the picture I've painted worse. So actually our AI, beyond it being able to match entrepreneurs to or tendering opportunities, it can also evaluate the tenders on behalf of the procurement department. So whenever you put in those tenders, there is a committee that will sit on the other side and decide, sasa hii tutapea nani. And usually it's flawed with like kickbacks, like some nepotism, and it's just not transparent. So we're trying to also use AI algorithms to do that vetting process, so that then it's actually fast, but it's also transparent. Now, will such people be replaced by our AI? I feel like not necessarily. And I think for me, I don't subscribe to the narrative that AI will replace anyone. Because I feel like what AI is doing are things that humans don't want to do anymore. Like the things that are unattractive to do. No one wants to review 1,000 pages of a document. Yes. In fact, nowadays when you send a report, no one reads reports anymore. So can we then let AI do things that humans don't want to do?
Yes.
So I feel like, yes, there is an opportunity for humans to still be human, be creative, be problem solvers. AI won't do that. AI is programmed to do certain. Of course, there's some AI that thinks, but it thinks based on a prompt. Who does the prompt? It's humans. Yeah. So I think let's not be scared about it. Let's just feel like this is a tool that anyone can leverage. It's accessible to anyone. So let's build applications that can move mountains.
You know, right now AI, and by this, I don't want to generalize it, but the tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, they have like names. People are calling, when someone says, I'm going to talk to Gemini, you know they're going to talk to Gemini. And do you have like certain systems that you're creating that will be named to solve this thing of procurement and...
Yes, so actually our platform, we currently just calling it the Innobit e-procurement platform, but it's leveraging existing AI models, right? So it's not a chatbot per se, so ChatGPT and the others are chatbots, but we've built a model that is able to sift through documents, decide a criteria, and do all that. So yes, it can be used by so many people, from businesses or just individuals. Of course, you can personalize it.
Yes.
So you can say, but you can call it your Jamie, because I think the truth is, once you personalize your AI and keep using it, it gets really good at understanding you, and you end up getting the best result. So yes, I think that's a future that I would love to live in as well.
I know that's so profound. But I want us to talk about some numbers here.
Okay.
Let's talk about some money.
Yes.
And please give us some numbers.
Okay.
When did you realize that this thing can actually give you money? Like real money? Yeah.
So we launched not with the idea of making money. Actually, we launched with the idea of, let's just help these youth and women get these tenders, because they rarely get these tenders.
Is that not a lie?
It's the truth. We never started. In fact,
you start something with impact and not
actually
money.
I swear, 100%. And let me tell you why. When we started, we didn't even think there was money in it.
Okay.
Yes. So we didn't think someone would like pay for this platform. So we really struggled even with coming up with a business model, because we're like, all we know is actually we can build a platform where it's simpler, it's easier to access tenders without necessarily having to go through all those calls and kuongea na watu nyuma ya tent, all that stuff, because not everyone is connected enough to do that, right? However, we had to sustain the business. So the truth is, you can't do everything just for good. Yes, you can do it for good, but it will die 1 year later because it can't sustain itself. So we thought of a model that would then sustain the business. And the model we thought about was, since we were obsessed with supporting these businesses, let's not charge them. So actually, small businesses are not charged to
use the solution.
We charge now the guys with the money, and the guys with the money are these procurement departments. So be it like a public sector or private sector procurement department that now is using this tool to review the tenders in record time. Then of course for them there's an incentive, and they definitely have them. And businesses are rich, right? It's big businesses. So because of that, now those are the ones that we are charging. And I think at that point we realized, of course, yes, we have to do good for these small businesses run by youth and women, but we have to sustain it by charging these guys with the money. And so that's where probably the money conversation started coming in. And yes, we started with people that cared more about mandate. So you've heard about this thing of the business corporates and even public institutions that are supposed to serve a certain segment, like they're supposed to reach young people, they're supposed to reach women, but they don't have tools to do that. So we gave them this as a tool. Oh, by the way, since you're really struggling to find young entrepreneurs or women entrepreneurs, we have them here, so you can serve them and maybe report in your final report that yes, we were able to reach these women and these
Yeah.
youth. So then that became an easier way to have them pay for the solution.
Yeah, because I was wondering, then if you are starting without the mindset of ROI, then that mean you didn't have starting capital? And you didn't have, and if you did, then does it mean you didn't have stress of, hii pesa ninaiweka tu hapa iende?
So the truth is we actually started with a grant. So we didn't use our own money, no, yes. So that hackathon, so the whole idea was born out of a hackathon in South Africa. So from that hackathon, we emerged as winners with this solution. So the only stress we had is now to bring it to the market. But that hackathon gave us a grant funding that then helped us create the product and get it somewhere. But of course now currently we're trying to fundraise now to get it to more people and probably scale it to a bigger market. But yes, to your question, at that time, we're not so worried about the money because we had been given free money. Grants is
free
more or
money.
less free
How
money.
much?
Well, enough to build the platform.
Wait to put your numbers.
It was just enough to get the platform up, but not enough to get the platform adopted in the market.
Yeah.
And so that's why we even now currently actively trying to see if we were to roll it in mass to market, we definitely need more money. And that's when we're trying to invite investors into the conversion. But at that time, we didn't even need investors.
Yeah.
We just needed to, first of all, have the product.
So how are you paying salaries? You've said you're working with almost 20 people.
Yes.
In the office in Kenya, or both in Kenya and Namibia?
Both in Kenya and Namibia, around 15.
Yeah.
So 8, 7.
So how are you catering to the needs of your people who are working for you to encourage them to come to work every day?
Yes. So of course, fast forward, that was then, but of course we've been able to have a business model where, like I said, the procurement departments pay for the product. So yes, we get money from that, but we also do capacity building trainings. Like I said, most business founders don't really know how to run businesses from operations, marketing, and all that. So we try to build their capacity in that, and of course we charge them for that. But also there's a part where I said we link these businesses to banks and financial institutions, microfinance, and all that. Those banks also get to pay us for that linkage. So we end up, of course, making money from those interactions.
Yes.
So as much as yes, we're not charging this person that we want to support, the small businesses, but we now get to charge these other individuals that benefit from our solution. And that's how then we have a business that is running. Yeah.
How much money have you received so far for the solution or for the services that you're offering? Ukasema, Mungu bariki wengine, utanimaliza na baraka. What's the craziest amount you've received and you're like, oh, something that started as a joke is giving us this money? Yeah.
I would probably say it was when we had the idea. So when we launched, I talked about a grant that we received. So probably I have to disclose at this point. It was just 10,000 USD. At that time, of course, I've never heard 10,000 USD. At that time, it was like around 1 million Kenyan shillings.
Yeah.
And that was crazy amount. And the fact that we didn't even have a product yet, we just had a prototype of an idea of what we needed to create. That was game changing. And it was money with no vikwazo to it. You can use it to probably develop the product and all that.
Yeah.
But of course now we've built the business to have a subscription model so that if you get to our platform as a procurement department, you just subscribe to the package that works for you. And then I don't really look at the numbers because it's just money that comes in, then we look at it at the end of the year. So I don't know. We never receive like lump sum. It's the small subscriptions from each of the individuals that ends up at the end of the year. We're like, okay, maybe we have this much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Haba.
Yes.
If you know, you know.
Just like yes.
But I would also want you to maybe speak to me about the challenges on the way.
Yeah.
Because no, even before we get to challenges, I want to tumalize story hii pesa kwanza. What made you not to think of uhame mali ulikuwa naishi kwanza uhamie 5 bedroom alafu ununue Demian pesa ngapi JK? What made you to be resilient with that money, to pump the money to fund the idea and make it something tangible and not to eat if the money you have cannot help eat that money? What made you not to eat the money?
So I'm not a first-time founder. So I've built businesses before that have failed, thanks to stories like what you're saying right now. So I knew way too well not to make the same mistakes, right? So I built this with a vision in mind. I'm like, Yes, no distractions.
Yeah.
I even had to like sacrifice like relationships with people, almost like sacrifice my own personal time, like a lot of sacrifice. And
Yes.
so because of that sacrifice I made, it had to count for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and also just based on experience. So my own personal experience of building business that have failed before, but also secondly, the experiences of these young entrepreneurs and women that I've interacted with ever since I started working. So before I started entrepreneurship, I was working for corporate, and in my corporate role, it was also focused on supporting entrepreneurs. So I understood way too well what their struggles were. That honestly, and I'm not using this word loosely, I became obsessed with solving that problem. That I didn't even think about buying a fancy car. Of course, I had to buy a car at some point, but it was not because now I had the money. It's because I knew, now that I'm trying to explore partnerships in Nanyuki, in Nakuru, in Laikipia, I have to drive there. I can't depend on fly. So then, of course, flying is possible, but in Kenya, we don't have enough airports to fly to every town. So then I had to buy it as a business asset to support me in doing that. So for me, I feel like it's okay to move to a new location, live in a new 5-bedroom if you feel like. If you feel like now you're closer to your customers, or your staff can now enjoy your space. Like everything has to fit back to the business. That's, I think, the mind of an entrepreneur.
But acha turudi hapo kwa failed entrepreneurs. Failed businesses. What has been some of maybe your learnings, not only in this business, but even in your experience before, that have been lessons that you've picked from the failures that you've had so far? And if you can also tell us hizo biashara zilikuwa gani, hata kama ilikuwa illegal.
Promise, it was all legal. Nothing was illegal. But it was mainly so I've done a couple of consulting businesses that have failed. And then the funny thing about consulting business is you don't necessarily need a product. So consulting ni ile ya mimi ndio mwenyeji. Wewe kuja kwangu utanilipa, nitakufanyia kitu. So you're the business literally. And I think the biggest lesson I picked was, I think when you're building a business, don't make yourself the business. Because I think most consulting models are kama watu hawako hamna do. Kama watu wako ndio, because your money is attached to your time. So that's how the consulting model was. That's why you hire consultant anakuambia okay, nita work for 2 days utanilipa hii. The accounting time. But you can't scale. It's very hard to scale that model. So probably one of the biggest lessons I learned was separate yourself from your business, so that build a product that can exist independently from you, so that hata ukilala ama ukienda holiday bado do inaingia kwa account. Kuna there's a whole structure and system of how the product is distributed to the customers. So mainly it was consulting. I've never done mainly the other goods or services.
Kuuza karibia customer.
No, I didn't get that. But I totally recognize those businesses and yes.
And maybe if we can shift this a bit and speak about now operating in a land that's governed by laws. What are some of the laws? How has it been to operate in Kenya with our laws and the taxations and all, compared to now? Let's reference Namibia, because that's also where the business is. So compared to Namibia.
So I'm telling you, it's tough to do business in Kenya. Anyone will tell you, be it a young person or even an old person, building a business in Kenya is tough. And probably something definitely needs to be done. From taxation to laws that don't really recognize you as a small business. They'll still charge you the 35% on your profit, and you're just like, I really need this to survive, right? So the reality is Namibia, and like I said, we had the beauty of implementing the solution in both markets at the same time. So that gave us the chance to learn on the go. So you'll be like, every now and then we'll talk to my team in Namibia, they're like, oh, by the way, how is it going? Uko, government buy-in is so high. For you to get to book a meeting with a government official or government department, it actually just takes even one email, and then they'll be like, yes, come, we're happy to listen to you, what are you building? In Kenya, up to 7 phone calls na bado hakuna mtu anataka hata kukupea appointment.
Hawatishwi
nakwambia. So it's very hard. The reception in Kenya was a bit very slow.
Yes.
And because of that, of course, it took us a lot of time. So we had to actually use lobby groups and lobby organizations like international actors also fund other government agenda to lobby on our behalf. We're like, okay, by the way, our daughter, they're building something interesting, you have to listen to them.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just saying, I think compared to other but again, it's because the Kenyan market is really saturated with businesses and tech and all that. So of course, it has to be tightened, right? Because otherwise then scammers watakuwa na crop up everywhere.
Yeah.
So I feel like the law also has a role to play in making sure that watu wasichukulie tu kama sana mchezo.
Yes,
like anyone can build anything. But I think for people who are building legit businesses, I think the laws need to be very much lenient, especially in those early stages. Maybe provide more stipend for businesses, maybe tax breaks, so that they don't have to pay taxes for like probably the first 5 or even 10 years. Because when you do that, you support this business that will eventually employ other young people. In my business, everyone is young.
Yeah.
You can imagine I can't manage anyone who is 60 years old. So I had to make sure my team is young. All these are people that the government is trying to service with youth unemployment issue at hand. So then my question is, if you want to solve the youth unemployment problem as an example, you have to make more businesses thrive, support them, give them the right environment for that to happen.
Yeah. You're working with young people, as you've said.
Yes.
Kuna mwenye ameomba leave ended yani. Unajua tuko festive season. Kuna mwenye amekwambia ni mgonjwa alafu amepost Insta story yako Diani ama Lamu.
Yes, it has happened.
Really?
So I won't mention this, but yes, it's very common, especially now that we have, people call them Gen Zs. Like this Gen Z market.
Yeah.
Their working style is totally different from us millennials. I am a millennial, and for us, we know the business comes first. So no matter what, niko like, hey, by the way, hata niko na mtoi mgonjwa, but wacha kwanza niende job. I do my part. Yes. But I think Gen Zs, they prioritize their self-care first. So they're like, and I think it's a good culture. Because at the end of the day, you see millennials have built a culture where people even die in jobs. Yeah. People die and then like, even you have dads who don't even know their kids, or their kids never interact with them because you're married to your work.
Yeah.
So I feel like the culture of, first of all, putting the person first, the employee first, is a good culture. But of course, just do it with respect, do it with professionalism, so that at the end of the day, the customers don't suffer.
Yeah.
Because those customers will pay you.
Wewe mwenye ako Diani hujamvuta kazi.
No. We always have a conversation around what to do better, because the other thing is Gen Z is also very open to learning, which is easy, because by the sometimes mtu anafanyanga hivyo juu by the ajui that there's another way to do it, like the other way to approach the situation. So you're just like, oh, by the way, unge communicate to better, hata sema ukweli. We know like your mental health matters, so we are happy to give you a vacation, a break for you to take care of your mental health if that's the issue. But usitu ghost, because these stories are ghost watu by the simple.
Kuna mwenye asha kughost.
Tumeghostiwa for like a week, someone is not picking calls, someone is nowhere to be seen. And then I resurface 1 week later that I was going through something. What do you mean?
I was between a rock and a hard place.
How do you expect me to understand, right? So communication is a critical skill, especially for, I think anyone working in an organization. Because that just makes sure that mtu asibaki hapo sasa yeye amebeba the blame, so that you know, then you can always dedicate to someone else or delegate to someone else.
Ni kama umepitia.
Tumekapitia.
You've gone through a lot. But in a saturated market, what makes you stand out as we wrap up?
Yes, so I think in a saturated market, for us, what makes us stand out is the experiences that we've built over time.
Yes.
So you've heard this thing about the difference between originality and authenticity. So the difference is, the truth is what we are building is not very original. Probably have other tendering platforms out there.
Yes.
However, those tendering platforms have not been built by Eliud. So Eliud comes with very unique experiences based on amework wapi before, interact na nani, or network yake iko na nani. So because of those personal experiences, we've put forward a solution that is inspired by real experiences of women entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs that I've worked with for the longest time. So because of those rich experiences, then really our solution is really focused on addressing those than even competing. Actually, when we started building, we didn't even do a research of who else is doing this, because we knew no one else had focused on the segment that we are focusing on.
Yeah.
So that's one. But of course, then secondly is just looking at what tech can do for you, because I think being young, building a business while young, is that you're constantly interacting with technology in all spheres of life.
Yes.
And so we try to leverage that. So we're probably the first platform, e-tendering platform, that leverages AI. There's no one else doing that.
Yeah.
And that makes our process efficient, transparent, and of course also trustworthy. So I think probably those two things, just focusing on our own unique experiences and making sure that we are putting our antennas high to know what's happening in the technology world.
Yeah.
And then, of course, finally leveraging partnerships. That's a key one.
Yeah.
So that we are serving the same people. We are serving entrepreneurs who are young, and there are many other people doing the same thing. So instead of fighting and competing unnecessarily, just form an alliance where you can do better together.
Yeah.
So that also has been a model that has worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm getting is, if for our parents at least, and the people who are older than us, when you speak to them, they'll tell you, you know, you can't get maybe even, let's say, government tenders unless if you have certain connections.
Yeah.
Because also aside from that, that connection is the bottlenecks that are there. So you're saying AI has come to, and just the solutions that you have, they've come to scrap off the bottlenecks that are there in the tendering space.
Exactly. So that then we reduce that human interference,
Yes.
which could be, like you said, through kickbacks or just preference treatment,
Yes.
where someone, hii jina inakaa Mwangi, unamjua, as opposed to someone else. So we just let the technology do that. But of course, we still leave the humans to make the final decision.
Yes.
Remember, tech can also go wrong. You've seen that more
Yes.
than enough times. Yeah,
Yes.
when you need tech, most of the time it fails. So we've put guardrails to make sure that yes, there can be a human who can intervene. However, just to make the playing field level
Yes.
for everyone, tech can help us achieve that.
And have you ever found, maybe you're pitching to these people and you're telling them, as we're working with young people and women, have you found people who are maybe, they have gender stereotypes? Where they're like, wanawake wakipewa pesa wataenda kulipa school fees badala waweke kwa biashara, ama young people wakipewa pesa wataenda Lamu badala waende wa invest kwa biashara. Have you found such challenges? And maybe you can also combine with some more challenges that you're experiencing based on your niche.
Yes, because of the fact that we are focusing specifically on women and youth, of course, that just people will hear young people, they hear jokers. Some people think young people just sit there playing video games or probably not doing anything meaningful. So because of that, actually one of the major challenges that started was when Trump came into power. So one of our initial supporters was the US Department of State. Trump akakuja akasema achana na hizi mambo za inclusion or diversity and inclusion, and that's where like women and youth fall. And like we're not supporting any initiatives under that. And because of that, of course, we even had some events that had been planned. We were going to the US for such events, but they had to be cancelled because of that. How do you bounce back from that? Of course, then focusing on the market that actually can appeal to you. So one thing I'll tell anyone who is building a business, everyone is not your target. Your target is not everyone. And even content creators will tell you, if you don't like my content, just swipe left or swipe up, right? Pick one. So also I think when it comes to working with people, you can actually choose who you think resonates with your values. So if our values are around inclusion, and then of course supporting young entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs, we basically tailor that our partners and even everyone else, even the departments that use our platform, to be people who know that they have a mandate to support that particular group. But of course beyond that, it's also the challenges of just the financial landscape, right? Especially working across 2 countries, being young, limited networks, limited financing, limited support. That has always been there. But I think one way in which we've been trying to address that is just living one day at a time, literally. Living one day at a time, just focusing on what market can I service today? Can I make them so happy that they will always come back to me? So the worst that could happen is that my business will stay the same. as opposed to failing, right?
Yeah.
So a case where you just feel like, yes, maybe the market is tough, focus on actually just making the customers you're currently servicing so happy that they keep you in business, and then you have a chance to fight another day.
Yeah. So basically stick to your lane.
Stick to your lane.
And focus on that lane.
Exactly.
Na uende ukienda kabisa.
Especially get so good at it that no one else can compete you in your own lane.
In your own lane. In fact, that is something that there's a CEO of Boopers who was saying that if you have to succeed in entrepreneurship, you have to look for a market gap. Look for a problem and solve it to the best way possible that no one can come and defeat you. For Innovate, what will be success in the next, let's say, 5 years?
Yes.
When you get to this place, where, or if I may frame it differently, what will you call success for the brand in the next 5 years?
I think for us, success will look like mass adoption of our solution. Especially, we have multiple solutions. Of course, one is the e-procurement platform. We also have training programs, like I said, but also the business financing connection. But the idea is, can we have more people using? And more for me will be, at least if we can get like 10 million users across both countries. I think that will be success, because I will know, remember we started doing this with impact in mind, not even the money. Yeah, so impact for me will mean I can get more people to be using our platform. Of course, that makes a difference in their lives. That's one. But also, I think geographical coverage. I think when you live in Africa, you'll notice, and when you travel around, you'll notice, but we're very similar people. We face similar problems. You go to South Africa, Nigeria, Zambia, it's similar landscape. So I'm hoping also a case where this solution can actually be adopted across the region, because I also feel like in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, others can also benefit from this. And then probably finally is the intergenerational support needs to be there more. So despite the fact that we are young and we're supporting youth, let not the older folks think like, but sasa wanatuacha nje wao on the other side, sisi tuko us versus them. No, they should know that they actually have a role to play. They could provide financing because they've been working long enough to be rich.
They are the guys with the money.
The money, exactly. So let them support businesses like ours, but also just bring that lived experiences of knowledge and expertise. I think if we get to a level where it's no longer about youth versus older people or women versus men, but more of like, how can we build an ecosystem that works for all of us collectively, that will be success for me.
I like that. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I know you are such a busy young man.
Thank you.
Yes,
young man, tell us what you have to say.
So thank you so much for your time, and we can only hope for the best. I hope what you're saying is that Innovate will not only be a brand that's recognized in Kenya and Namibia, it can be in Uganda, you go to Ethiopia, Somalia, cross-border in Africa, and even beyond, because I feel like AI is where everyone is going. There's so many tech people who are coming up. And by the way, I've said that, and I've just realized what would be a red flag that someone should... Like, if someone sees this thing, they're like, hey, this is a red flag. It's not an ideal platform to go to, especially for the competitors in your space.
I think, especially in the tech world, whenever a platform is sourcing data that you feel like they don't need, that's a red flag. Because you see, all AI that exists is built on data. So the more data a company has, the more chances that they have a smarter AI.
Yes.
And that's why like the ChatGPT are so good, because they've amassed so much data. So whenever you're out there, and then there are those, usually they'll ask you, consent to your data being, make sure you take keen attention to that, because that data can be used for other things. And we also have companies that unfortunately get data and then they sell it to third parties and make money from that data. So make sure, please take your time. I know it's a very long consent form for you to agree to the terms, but at least look through, so that when your data is just being used anyhowly, then you can stop that. So that's, I think, one of the biggest red flags, especially in our market. But the other one is people who overpromise. Yes, people who just, and especially when you're building a business, you get the pressure. Exactly. You get the pressure kusema, tumetenga 1 million and develop a new office in Malindi, and you have no such plans. So I think you can always get that, especially when you interact with someone. You go like, hapa, I think hii ni kama tumetenga.
Moto si moto.
So yeah, I think that's also another big red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much. I've been wrapping up this show for 1 million years. Thank you so much for just being here with us, and to you, Eliud, as we've just said, we hope that nikienda Rwanda next time, nataka kuanzisha mabiashara zangu huko, nataka kuingia into procurement and whatever, I'll have the solution there, because I believe what matters tech, innovation, AI, it's borderless.
For sure.
Really, because if I'm in America, I still have internet. I can still log on to the website and interact. But maybe if someone wanted to reach you, where can they find you? The website? Do you have socials or a phone number?
Yes, we do. So kindly, you can visit our website, www.innobid.net. Innobid, INNOBID.net. You can find us and access the platform. Also, it's available there. Socials, mainly LinkedIn, Innobid, Instagram also, Innobid. I think all platforms are just Innobid. And of course, you can interact with us. Our team is always super active to engage. But of course, you can also write to us directly, hello@innobid.net. If you want a partnership conversation or want to explore a conversation around using the solution further, just write to hello@innobid.net, and we'll be happy to take forward the conversation.
There you go. You can just, whatever he said, everything, you can pause and then go and write whatever, the emails, if you want to. You can find a support number, hotline number on the website, and then you can talk to them. Otherwise, thank you so much for keeping it right here. This is Urban TV, and this has been Biz and Banter. My good name is Sue Senge, and until next time, adios.